Welcome aboard the BESETO Express. We'll cover 3 countries: Beijing in China, Sei, Seoul in Korea, and Tokyo in Japan. Together we'll explore the culture of BESETO. All aboard the BESETO Express.
When you follow the history of civilization, there is always paper. Paper, which was used 4,000 to 5,000 years ago, developed into a form much like how it is today, as it found its way to China. Paper was developed in the beginning for recording human history, but as it penetrated deeply into our lives, it developed into various different forms. The paper craftwork of Korea is not as decorative, but developed more for the use in the practical everyday lives. Paper was used as materials for everyday household objects. Paper craftwork of China had a strong symbolic meaning, such as talismans that brought good fortune. From letters to animal shapes, the cut-out pieces of various shapes are all in red color. From daily household objects to ornaments decorating the house, the paper craftwork of Japan is realistic. Let's meet the paper craftworks of the 3 BESETO countries, which have melted into the everyday lives of the people, each in different ways.
Hello, my name is Sunmin Kim. What comes to mind when you think of paper? Books, notepads, letters, even wrapping paper? There are so many different uses. That's why if you join us today on our BESETO Express, you'll be able to see many more uses of paper. We'll also be looking at the different paper arts and crafts, but first, let's find out how paper is made and the different types of papers.
Traditionally, Koreans used paper to make doors for rooms. As you can see from this fact, the Korean people use paper in various ways. Korean traditional paper, which is called hanji, is made of the mulberry tree. The mulberry tree is soaked in hot water like this and pounded on. Then you can obtain the fine fiber of the tree. As such, paper made of traditional production methods got everything from nature. Hanji is made by laying out the raw material of paper on a bamboo board. Hanji is not only beautiful in itself, but it is soft, lovely in color, and even gives off a good scent. Korean traditional paper is also strong, and it is believed that it does not change for almost 1,000 years. Although it tears and wrinkles easily, paper becomes stronger the more that are put together. That is why paper is a great material to be used for everyday household objects. From various boxes to shoes, even wallets and eyeglass cases. From decorative hats used for special occasions to brush pots where brushes are stored. As such, the Korean people use paper craftwork in every field of life. Objects made of paper are not only beautiful, but since they are also light in weight, a diverse range of designs are possible to make. They are also very practical. If you open it up like this, you can see that it is a nice storing box for needles and other tools. As such, Korean paper craftwork uses paper in practical ways. The home of paper, which has more than 2,000 years of history, China. The paper craftwork, which began together with the history of paper, has become so popular that it can be found anywhere in China. The representative paper craftwork of China is the junji, which began in the Nanbei period about 1500 years ago. From simple patterns to elaborate and huge shapes, the Chinese traditional junji paper craftwork makes everything using only one sheet of paper. Since Chinese traditional junji paper craftwork originally began as a kind of light work for women, most have simple hopes embodied in them. So decorative patterns wishing longevity and good fortune can often be seen. However, although they are from the same period, the Chinese traditional paper junji made by district offices are more exaggerated and completed in a more intricate and realistically elaborate artwork. But whoever it was made by, the significance behind it was usually the same. It wished for happiness in the family, long life, and the birth of many children, and even the hopes of scaring away diseases. Unlike the past, which used mostly the red color, various colors are used in the modern-day China. Their shapes have also become more diverse. Various types of paper craftworks, other than the traditional Chinese junji paper craftwork that have incantation objectives, have been made and are being used in everyday lives. The paper craftworks completed like this through the hands of the craftsmen are pictures and letters that wish for good fortune and longevity for generations to come. Chinese paper craftwork is practical and artistic at the same time. The Chinese people still use paper craftworks for significant events.
这个剪纸呢，剪纸大概的这个形式呢，由这个团花剪纸，团花呢它也叫转花，也叫顶棚花，它是装饰这个结婚的顶棚用的。它这个绞成一个圆的大团花呢，搁到这一间屋子的中间，然后4个角呢绞4个云字花，4个云字花是三角形的，三角形呢衬托一下中间这个大圆剪纸。
Japanese paper craftwork has a history of about 1,300 years. The most special trait of the Japanese paper craftwork is that the paper itself is important. Japanese paper craftwork is different from paper craftwork of other countries in a way that various methods are used to express diverse decorative patterns and the textures on the paper. The paper made like this has various shapes, patterns, and colors, so that the paper itself looks like a piece of paper craftwork. As such, real flowers and grass are put in the paper as well. Japanese paper craftwork is closely related to the festivals held every year. The various symbolic objects that can be found in Japanese festivals are mostly made of paper. Such paper craftworks are very realistic. Folding paper into various shapes is one of the most popular techniques of Japanese paper craftwork. As such, many pictorial factors are added to the Japanese paper craftwork. Many paper craftworks can be found in festivals of gods, so many of them draw imaginary images of gods in very detailed ways.
そうですね、特別な特徴というのはね、他には見られない非常に、この見栄えの良さというか、肌触りの良さというか、 他の他のものにはない優しさというかね、強さもありますので、これが一番の魅力と思いますね。
Paper could get ripped easily, and if you're not careful enough, wrinkled as well. It also could get ruined if it's soaked in water. However, plates and dolls made out of paper are very strong and stiff. How are they made to be so strong? Well, let's find out.
The sewing box was an essential item for every Korean woman. It starts from cutting a thick piece of paper for the base. A knife is used to cut the paper at this stage. If an angle or a single knife work is slightly done wrong, the whole thing is out of shape. So it requires very delicate handwork. When the cutting is finished, the cardboard is put together using glue to make its shape. Then, white-colored hanji is used to paper the walls inside and outside, and then decorations are made. Korea's colored paper craftwork adds beauty by pasting many layers of different colored Korean traditional paper, one on top of the other. The decorative patterns are as important as the colors, and their designs embody simple wishes. Unlike China, which uses scissors, knives are used in this stage as well to cut the decorative patterns. The craftworks are made with the 5 basic colors: red, yellow, light green, navy, and black. Different decorative patterns are chosen according to whether the user is a woman or a man and for its use. Many of them are of animals and plants and have letters that wish for good fortune. Developed through the hands of women and the common people, both simple beauty and practicality can be found in the paper craftworks of Korea. The sewing box was an item every Korean woman must take for their married lives. This box, made of traditional Korean paper, is made with many pockets and drawers to easily keep sewing materials like spools, scissors, and garments. Korean traditional paper craftwork is usually made by dyeing mulberry tree paper into different colors, then pasting the colored paper onto the object, and then sticking decorative patterns of Buddhist images on them. It did not take long for paper, which was born in the 2nd century BC in China, to find its way to Korea. Korea had enough paper-making techniques that it was able to pass it on to Japan as early as the 6th century. This is a statue of Buddha made with paper. Paper becomes stronger the more layers that are pasted together, and if lacquer is polished onto it, it becomes a strong material for artwork. This traditional mask made of mulberry tree paper does not change its shape easily, and it can keep its form for a long time.
한지공예의 이제 특징, 뭐 장점이겠죠. 그 장점 같은 거라고 하면 우선 재료가 우선 가볍고 또 당나무를 원료로 했기 때문에 아주 질겨요 이게. 그러니까 이제 종이를 한지를 한 10겹, 20겹을 만약 배접을 해놓으면은 옛말에 화살도 못 뚫는다고 그럴 정도로 그 견고해요 이게. 그리고 또 우선 가볍고, 그리고 이제 우리 이 한지공예가 오색을 기본으로 바탕을 해가지고 거기서 발생되는 그거는 다양한 색상과 다양한 형태, 다양한 표현이 되어 있기 때문에 그게 이제 특징이라고 할 수 있죠.
The elaborateness of Chinese kites are famous all over the world. Chinese kites can often be found in festivals of different countries around the world. We can guess the standard of Chinese paper craftwork by looking at such examples. Chinese paper craftwork can be represented by kites. The Chinese people enjoy kite flying very much. On the Lunar New Year's Day, people flying kites can easily be found in all parts of China. Kites of various forms and shapes can be found. The Chinese people believe that the long string attached on the kite symbolizes long life. And they believe that if one wishes a wish on the kite and the kite flies away to the sky, that wish will come true. That is why diverse kites of various colors and shapes are made. Kites of China are unique for their diverse shapes and elaborate colors, such as this butterfly that looks as if it is alive. Some kites are made very realistically. Kite making starts by drawing the underlying drawing on paper and then coloring it in with detail. Then, the frame of the kite is made using pieces of bamboo. The kite is completed when the paper within the drawing is pasted onto the frame. Paperclay Craftwork, which has developed in modern days, is used mostly for decorations. The paper is soaked in water, then kneaded, and paint is added to give color. Then, it is ready to make various shapes and forms. All steps are done through the hands of man. Then, an elaborate object of craftwork is created like this. Paper becomes a completed object of art once it is dyed and formed into different shapes. This paper doll is a representative piece of craftwork from which we can all take a glimpse at the culture and everyday lives of Japan. The Japanese people believe that buying such a paper doll that does not have eyes and drawing in the eyes on the doll will bring one good fortune. As such, paper craftwork is made by reflecting not only the everyday lives, but also the spirit and customs of a nation's people. Today, art school students learn paper craftworks as well. The postcards made with much care by the artists also use traditional paper. They follow traditional paper craftworking skills and create beautiful modern paper craftworks. Japan combines tradition and modern technology well in every field, and paper craftworking is not an exception. Paper craftwork objects are being newly made with a modern taste. By combining traditional materials and modern craft techniques, Japanese paper craftwork is still loved by many people today.
I think history was created when people invented paper and started leaving records on them. Do you have a diary or journal of your own? If you don't, why don't you start writing in a diary or journal and you can have a history of your own? And wouldn't it be better if you used a Korean paper called hanji, which lasts for 1,000 years? Well, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time on BESETO Express. Bye!
The consumption rate of paper of a nation can tell the standard of the nation's culture. Cultures and everyday lives are naturally expressed in the paper craftworks of the 3 BESETO countries, where paper is used in a variety of different ways.